We recently returned from a jam-packed 2-week adventure in Peru, and I brought with me just one pack, the Janji Revy 18-liter. And it had to pull triple duty, acting as my day pack on the Salkantay Trek, my fast packing setup for the Choquequirao trek, and my carry-on for my camera gear and laptop while I traveled. I wanted to see if one lightweight, running-inspired pack could handle it all. And I'll tell you about it in this episode of The Mudroom. Now, this pack was provided to me by Janji, who also sponsored both of the films that I'll be publishing from our trip to Peru. It's a fairly new pack, which Janji is positioning as both a run commute and adventure pack. It's a mix of a running vest up front and a day pack in the back. And they sent one for Audrey as well in a colorway called Skyline, but it unfortunately didn't arrive in time for our trip because of the postal strike here in Canada. Now, for travel, the laptop pocket in the rear fit my 15-inch MacBook Air perfectly with a little room to spare. So you could fit a 15-inch MacBook Pro, which is a little bit thicker, in here as well. And I tucked the charger and the other adapters along with my passport, cards, and extra cash, things like that, in the small pockets here in the rear. And all of my action camera gear and even 2 drones went in the main compartment with clothing and snacks for the multiple flights that we had to Peru on top. And a large water bottle fit in the side pocket. Now, normally I would bring a much larger, specially designed camera bag when I'm traveling with my mirrorless camera and my lenses, but I decided to rely just on my smaller action cameras and my drones for this trip. And the Revy was much lighter, it was more convenient, and it didn't scream camera bag while I walked around sightseeing in Lima and Cusco. And it easily fit under the seat on every flight, which is always a huge bonus. Now, our first big adventure on the trip was the Salkantay Trek, a 5-day journey to Machu Picchu, which we hosted with Vagabond Trails. Because our main bags were being transferred each day, I only needed to carry the essentials: my cameras, my warm and waterproof layers, sun protection, snacks, and water. And I don't like using bladders, so the laptop sleeve, which doubles as a bladder compartment, stayed empty. But between the front flask pockets and the side bottle holders, I could still carry about 2 liters comfortably. And this top zippered pocket is where I kept things that I might need easy access to, like my sunglasses and toilet paper. It's got multiple adjustment points, including on the sternum, on the bottom of the pack, leveling straps over the shoulders, and an optional waist belt to help stabilize the pack, which can be tucked away when not in use. But keep in mind that this is not meant to offload weight onto your hips like a hiking pack. It's just meant to help stabilize the pack in terms of rotational forces. So you don't want to overload a pack of this size, because almost all the weight is going to be on your shoulders. And the vest style harness hugged my body quite well, so even when I was jogging sections of the trail, there was very little bounce. Now, the pack is water resistant, but not fully waterproof. Very few packs are. So I used a waterproof bag liner inside to keep all of my gear dry, and I typically kept my waterproof layers, my pants and my jacket, in this outside kangaroo pouch so that they'd be quickly accessible. Now, next up was Choquequirao, a 3-day fast pack that Audrey and I did on our own the following week into one of Peru's most remote Inca sites. And this time the pack was a little more fully loaded, with clothing and food for the day, camera gear, bed liners, and emergency supplies. We were self-supported, but we'd still be buying extra food and water along the trail and staying in a guest house at night, so essentially hut-to-hut style. And the wide vest style straps distributed the weight quite well over my shoulders, and the fit was really good, very little bounce even when running. I'm 6 feet tall, and the medium-large size here was just right. And the included soft flasks from Hydro Pack are really nice. They have a locking bite valve so that they don't leak when they're not in use. And I've started using these almost exclusively now with my other vests as well. Now, these front zippered pockets could be a little bit larger, but one thing I do like is how well my phone fits into this front slash pocket. It's nice and snug because I find that on a lot of other vests, like the Solomon Advanced Skin, it tends to be way too loose. It eventually slides down and starts to bounce and bruises my rib cage. So this is a really nice fit. And the vest harness really makes it feel like you're wearing a hydration vest rather than a traditional pack, but it still has a fairly simple and clean design. And while I normally prefer a roll top over a zippered main compartment, I do love how this semi-clamshell opens up completely on one side, making it possible to access gear that you might have put all the way at the bottom without having to pull everything else out. And after 2 weeks, a couple hundred kilometers, lots of mud, rain, and travel, after a quick wash, it pretty much looks brand new. But I don't think this would work too well for an unsupported fast pack where you're carrying a sleeping bag and a shelter and a stove, unless maybe you're cowboy camping and cold soaking with a super light setup and in dry conditions. There are extra straps here. You could probably strap a sleeping paddle on the bottom, something on the side, maybe hook things on the back, but I really do think that this is best suited for hut-to-hut style adventures where you just need a little bit more capacity than what a 12-liter running vest can provide, or for multi-day races, things like Tour des Géants that have a lot of required kit. And of course, it will perfectly double as your carry-on bag for traveling to and from those races and adventures, along with as a day pack for exploring the city, where a smaller running vest would be less than ideal. So after 2 weeks of travel, trekking, and running with this pack, I can safely say that the Revy 18-liter turned out to be one of the most versatile packs I've used. It's a perfect solution when you need a pack that can do a little bit of everything like I often do. The 2 films from Peru will be coming soon, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss those. But let me know in the comments if you think that this pack might work for you, and check out the link below if you want to learn more and to shop for the pack yourself.